Hello students, I am Khalikova Latova Tuktamovna, responsible to deliver lesson 1. The topic is From the History of Railways. This lesson is devoted for the second course students of technical faculties. So, let's move on to the main part of our lesson. First, we listen to the text about From the History of Railways and watch the video about the evolution of train 1550 to 2020, history of railway transport and the first locomotive model of Trevitsk. Then we look at vocabulary from the text and try to read and pronounce correctly. At the end, we work with grammar tenses in active and passive voice and do some exercises. Now it's time to listen the text from the history of railways. We usually think of railways as a means of travel. It is true that railways are often used for travel, but their most important function is to carry freight. Railways play a very important part in the national economy of a country because the economic and political development of a country depends on a wide network of transportation systems. Also, we have now faster and more modern means of communication and transport. Railways are still the safest and the most popular means of transportation. The early railways were not like the railways we have today. The very first railways used horses for drawing trains and were put into operation for transporting such products as coal, ore, and timber. Later on, the horse railways were used as passenger transport in large cities. But these railways did not last long. One of the first attempts to use the steam engine to draw passenger and freight trains was made in 1808 by Richard Trevithick, an Englishman who demonstrated his working model in London. This locomotive was looked at with great interest when it ran on a circular track of iron rails. For a shilling, the public could travel in a carriage drawn by the steam engine. The locomotive was called Catch Me Who Can, and the people could rarely catch it because it developed only 12 miles per hour. But one day a rail broke and the locomotive overturned, ending Trevithick's career as an inventor. In 1829, George Stephenson, an English inventor and engineer, built a successful steam locomotive which he called the Rocket. This locomotive was much smaller and lighter than the steam locos developed later on, and it was much slower. However, it could draw a small train of loaded cars on the railway and developed an unheard-of speed of 13 miles per hour, 21 kilometers per hour. The invention of the steam locomotives made the railway the most important of all means of transportation. You have listened to the text. Now it is time to watch the video about the evolution of trains 1550 to 2020 and the first model of Trevitsk. Dear students, I think you liked this video and you have learned more information about the history of railways. Now it's time to work with vocabulary which were used in the text mostly. They will help you to understand the text easily. You can learn how these words read and pronounce. Rail, the system of transport that uses trains. Railway or railroad, the metal tracks on which trains run, means a method or way of doing something. The vary to a great degree or extremely. Travel, to make a journey, usually over a long distance. Traveler, someone who travels. Freight, goods, but not passengers, that are carried from one place to another by ship, aircraft, train, or truck, or the system of transporting these goods. Important, necessary, or of great value. Develop, to grow or change into a more advanced, larger, or stronger form. Depend on, depend upon, to trust someone or something, and that person or thing will help you or do what you want, expect him, her, or it to do. Fast, moving or happening quickly, or able to move or happen quickly. Safe, not in danger or likely to be harmed. Operate, to work, be in action, or have an effect. Call, to give someone or something a name, or to know or address someone by particular name, success. Coming to the next slide of the lesson, let's watch grammar illustration of forming active and passive voice in English.
Passive voice in English. Tense. Active. Passive. Present simple. I do my homework. My homework is done. Present continuous. I'm doing my homework. My homework is being done. Past simple. I did my homework. My homework was done. Past continuous. I was doing my homework. My homework was being done. Present perfect. I have done my homework. My homework has been done. Past perfect. I had done my homework. My homework had been done. Future simple. I will do my homework. My homework will be done. Future be going to. I'm going to do my homework. My homework is going to be done. Modal. I must do my homework. My homework must be done. Modal perfect. I should have done my homework. My homework should have been done.
Now let's have a look on screen and learn more about the topic active and passive. These are the passive forms of the present and the past tenses. Simple present to be am is are plus verb 3 verb ed. For example, in active, somebody cleans this room every day. In passive, this room is cleaned every day. Past simple, to be was were plus verb 3 verb ed. In active, somebody cleaned this room yesterday. In passive, this room was cleaned yesterday. Present continuous, to be verb to be am is are being plus verb 3 verb ed. Active, somebody is cleaning the room right now. In passive, the room is being cleaned right now. Past continuous, to be was were being plus verb 3 verb ed. In active, somebody was cleaning the room when I arrived. In passive, the room was being cleaned when I arrived. Present perfect, have, has, been plus verb 3 verb ed. The room, in active, the room looks nice. Somebody has cleaned it. In passive, the room looks nice. It has been cleaned. Past perfect, had been plus verb 3 done, verb ed cleaned. In active, the room looked much better. Somebody had cleaned it. In passive, the room looked much better. It had been cleaned. My dear students, you have learned how to form passive and active in English language. To advance our grammar, let's practice some exercise classroom based exercises. Exercise 1. Read the sentence and then write another sentence with the same meaning. Begin each sentence as shown. One example is given. Somebody stole my bag in the store. My bag was stolen in the store. The police have arrested 3 men. 3 men have been arrested by the police. You should continue the sentence. Last but not least, we come to the end of our lesson. I want you to have some time to do these tasks as the homework. You should make a passive sentence from the words in parentheses. For example, that building looks very old. When was it built? Is Margaret popular? Yes, she is liked by everybody. You should continue these sentences. Then you should read the text again and fill in T-scheme advantages and disadvantages of first railways. After that, try to find answers the following questions. Thank you for your attention. See you next lesson.